My stand about education, I think it's just constitutes my life ever since I was 17 and I started teaching. So I haven't known any other job except working in education. As far as CBC is concerned, I would like to say I started working as a member of the National Steering Committee way back in 2016. Appointed by the then CES, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, representing the universities in that membership. And I stayed in that steering committee for its entire life. And then in 2019, June, I was appointed to chair the task force on enhancing access, relevance, transition, quality, and equity by the current CS, Professor George Magoha. That task force was inaugurated in July 2019. And we conducted the activities of the task force in reference to the terms of reference that were given to us. And those terms of reference were organized in various categories, and these entailed an advice to the Cabinet Secretary with regard to transitioning grade 6 of the CBC to grade 7 junior secondary schools. The ministry wanted to get an advice on how best and effective this could be done. And we were also expected to advise on transition from that junior secondary to senior secondary, how best it could be done, and also to advise on issues of infrastructure, validate data, among other TORs. So the primary reference was the transition, and then the others followed, including teacher education, including how to ensure that county government and national government can work seamlessly in ensuring that early childhood education is part and parcel of the entire education system, considering that a system of education begins from early childhood all the way to primary, secondary, tertiaries, including universities. And therefore, part of our advice also entailed how to transition grade 12 into universities and tertiaries. There is discomfort in the competency-based curriculum compared with 844. Now, those are two different things. 844 is a structure of education, and I hear parents, we want to go back to 844. That was a structure. My child to go for 8 years, be examined, go for 4 years, be examined, go for another 4 years in a college, and so on. However, when we come to the CBC, we are talking about a curriculum, content, and how it's being offered. That means the process of teaching and how the learner is learning and how the teacher assesses achievements of what has been learned. The generation that has children in CBC went through the system of 844. The curriculum was teacher content centered. The teacher knows it all. The teacher says everything that the learner needs to know. All what the learner needed to do is to have a good memory, to capture what the teacher is saying, be able to read and memorize what the textbooks are saying, buy test papers, past test papers to see the rhythm of how they will be examined. The parents to engage tutors for overtime teaching, weekend teaching, and so on, to tutor their children so that they master how the examination will usually comes. And then wait for the 8 years, go, sit for 3 days, pass or fail in recalling what they learned. That was how the 844 operated. And after doing the 8 years, the KCP, a small fraction who are gifted in recollection of what teacher says or what the book says, were labeled as success stories and hundreds of thousands who are not gifted in that particular kind of intelligence were labeled as failures. And as you may know, we now appreciate that there are multiple intelligences that children will have. Some children have various of those intelligences. Others are gifted with only one intelligence, maybe an intelligence of knowing how to move their muscles and run very, very fast. And they can be trained when they hear the gunshot, they skip and run very fast in less than 9 seconds. Others may not have that intelligence. The previous system of education, which is being phased out, was focusing on one aspect of the various multiple intelligences that children have. The CBC is opening the whole education world to all children, regardless of the kind of intelligences that they are gifted. The difference is in how we teach what the learner is supposed to learn. The difference is on how the teacher is able to facilitate learning, encourage learners to learn how to learn by themselves. So that is the difference, not to go to school expecting that they are going to learn from the teacher. They go to school expecting the teacher to help them to learn what they are able to learn and do best.